Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Looks like we've got our participants trickling in here. Happy Tuesday. Little wild having things on a Tuesday. We sort of switch around day to day, but looks like we've got a big crowd here. Wow, people coming in. All right, we'll give everybody a couple more minutes to get settled before we get started. Just as a reminder, this is our last webinar for the season. We're actually for the rest of 2024, but fret not, we will be back in 2025. The powers that be, Simon and everyone else, we kind of got together and are already putting together the schedule for 25, and we'll get rolling again in January. So be sure to keep an eye out on the webpage for our upcoming sessions. Gonna basically get more going. It's been popular. Thanks to everybody for showing up. You've made this program super strong. And yes, there will be a recording of this session, and that will go out. Will be available on the website actually, and we'll get that link up for you. In addition to the recordings being stored, this recording being stored there, the recordings of all of our previous sessions are being stored there, and it gives you an opportunity to see what sessions are upcoming. So you can go ahead and see what sessions are coming up for 2025, starting again in January. 125 people in the audience, and they're still coming. Well, you know what? As everybody's getting settled, I think we can go ahead and get rolling here. Today, we are here for the Smarter Way to Cloud Roadshow, the webinar edition. So this is going to be interactive. Don't hesitate to ask questions in chat. We've got three folks with us working the Q&A. So get your questions in. That's why we're here. We want to be sure we get all your questions answered on top of the presentation. And so for now, Gordon, how are you?
Hey, Anders, doing great, thanks. Happy Tuesday to you.
Happy Tuesday to you as well.
Hope you're enjoying some good weather wherever I find you.
Absolutely. And it sounds like we've got a poll ready to rock and roll here today.
We do, yeah. I'd love to just take a quick pulse of the audience, know what role everyone's in their respective organization. So let's pop that up to start.
All righty. Let us know a little bit about yourself, and we'll run this for about a little 30 seconds here because we want to get rolling as soon as possible. A lot of good content today, so please get your votes in.
Always nice to see where everyone sits in the organization. Helps me tailor the presentation content a little bit as we go through it.
Fantastic. And we still got people coming into the room. It's the attendee counter is rolling. So thanks to everybody who joined with us. If you just got in, we've got a poll up. Please answer the poll so we can find out a little bit more about you. All right, and give another 10 seconds here. All right, got some rough numbers here. Looks like we've got a CIO, CTO, 1%, IT leadership, 15% of the audience today, IT admin, 44% of the audience, IT support, 9% of the audience, and 31% others. So here's a shout to the others in the audience. All right, we're going to go ahead and end the poll so we can get rolling. And there's our little idea of the results. Thanks to everybody for participating in that.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, thanks, Anders, for running that. And good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever I happen to find you today. My name is Gordon Barr. I'm a field CTO here at VMware by Broadcom in North America. And happy Tuesday. Looking forward to sharing with you what we've been doing out on the road for the past 3.5 months since VMware Explore in August. So myself, the VCF division here at VMware by Broadcom have been focused on bringing all of the Explore and our most recent announcements to you, our customers in the field. And if I didn't happen to catch you somewhere in North America, fear not, that's what today's for with our last webinar of the season. So we'll just jump right into it here. You know, your standard disclaimer, I am going to talk about products that we already ship. So the stuff that we released in 2024, but I'm also going to give you an opportunity to see VCF 9 and stuff that's coming down the pipe in 2025. So really exciting stuff here. I really want to open though with what we've been focused on for the last year. And, you know, post Broadcom acquisition, which closed almost exactly a year ago, we've been focused on what you, our customers, have been looking for from VMware, in some cases for a long time. And really what that's materialized into is this commitment to you, our customers, really giving you a simplified VMware experience. And this started with rationalizing all of our products and all of our people and all of the pieces that made up what was VMware pre-acquisition and giving you a simplified VMware experience. Now, we know as the industry leader in virtualization and private cloud that what sets us apart from the competition is our ability to innovate. And so post-acquisition, Broadcom committed $2+ billion just in 2024 of R&D money to VMware. And we have billions of dollars committed going forward to help continue to drive this innovation engine to bring meaningful products and services to you, our customers, and keep VMware head and shoulders above the competition. And that's just a cultural thing inside of Broadcom, right? Broadcom came out of the semiconductor industry where you don't win RFPs by taking people out to lunch. You win it by innovating and building the best products and services in the industry. And that's why you see Broadcom chipsets touching more than 99% of every packet that goes across the internet today, because their chips are head and shoulders above everyone else's in the industry. And that's their focus for VMware, making sure that we continue to be the best private cloud platform on the planet. Now, of course, with all that great technology, we had to make sure that you got a consistent VMware experience. And that meant working with our value-added reseller community, our hyperscaler community, and our cloud service provider community to make sure that you, our customers, have that consistent VMware experience everywhere you go with your workloads and applications. And that experience is simply this. We want to deliver the best private cloud platform to you to accelerate innovation for your business and for your constituents. And the reason why we're focused on this is because a lot of you have come to us over the past 4 or 5 years and told us that you're struggling with public cloud and hybrid cloud and in this multi-cloud world. Very specifically, we hear that you're struggling with the cost of public cloud. And this is absolutely the #1 reason why we are seeing customers repatriate to a private cloud platform today. But beyond the cost, we know that running in multiple clouds creates complexity. And that complexity adds toil and ultimately means you need more people in order to manage all of that complexity. And it leads to inconsistent security postures. And for a lot of our customers who are regulated, compliance has become more costly and more complex than ever. And so for these customers, they need the simplicity and the consistent security posture of a private cloud. And over the last 4 years, we've seen this trend continue to accelerate of customers moving their workloads back from the public cloud to a private cloud. Now, this doesn't mean infrastructure that has to sit in your data center. This could be in a colo provider or a managed service provider or a sovereign cloud provider. But regardless of where you're bringing those workloads, we've seen this trend accelerate dramatically in the last 4 years for the 3 reasons we just talked about: cost, complexity, and compliance. And so at Broadcom, we have a vision for this private cloud strategy. And our vision is that the future of the enterprise is private. It's running private clouds, using private AI, and all of that is fueled by your private data. And this is what we're really focused on in the VMware Cloud Foundation division, because we know that we can address the biggest challenges you're having with hybrid cloud and public cloud today, which are the unpredictable costs, the increased complexity, and the regulatory and compliance scrutiny that you continue to have to spend time and money dealing with. But there are challenges. Let's be honest. As we move back, or in some cases, take workloads that were born in the public cloud and bring them to a private cloud, we recognize that data centers today, in many cases, are still siloed. They have silos of infrastructure, which have created tech debt over the last decade or two. And so we need to help you address these silos in a meaningful way, because these silos are what slow innovation. They're what increase cost, they're what increase complexity, and they increase risk. So we need to do a better job of addressing the data center silos with you in partnership, because this isn't just a technology problem, right? It's about processes and people and workflows and making sure that we match this cloud operating model. And for many of us who've already gone into the public cloud and developed cloud native workloads, we've oriented around that cloud operating model. But for some of us, we never got there. And so we need to bring that cloud operating model to your technology teams and marry it to a modern infrastructure. So it's more than just a technology problem. But let's be honest, inside of VMware, we were siloed as well. And our new path forward was specifically oriented to addressing this siloed approach, because we saw our customers struggling, trying to take a best of breed approach in building data centers and vendor Olympics and all of the complexity that created. And inside of VMware, we were siloed as well. We had our vSphere team and our vSAN team and our NSX team and our operations management and security portfolio team and our hybrid cloud team and our Kubernetes team. We had all these different divisions inside of VMware, all building what we believed were our best of breed products aimed at that target solution. But in order to deliver a cloud platform, that had to change. And so day one, week one, post Broadcom acquisition in 2023, we reorganized VMware fundamentally around the VCF platform. And this meant bringing together all of those disparate teams into a single team under a single general manager in a single P&L and having a single vision and strategy. And that vision and strategy is VMware Cloud Foundation as the private cloud platform. And what that means to you is you now will have an integrated experience with that VMware Cloud Foundation product. It's no longer going to feel like a bucket of parts that you have to put together and operate in silos. It feels like a true platform. And with that unified experience, we now deliver faster success for you, our customers, right? The ability to stand this up faster, to be able to seamlessly lifecycle and manage it all as a single platform is going to ultimately deliver a lot more value. And so we've really reoriented VMware Cloud Foundation around this idea of cloud admins and cloud consumers and the ability to deliver more than just IaaS. Because delivering VMs and Kubernetes is great, but it is just IaaS at the end of the day. And what your developers and what your line of business leaders are looking to consume is different, right? They want to consume AI, they want to consume containers, but they also want to consume load balancers and advanced network services. They want to consume database as a service. And so really, what VCF is focused on isn't just delivering IaaS anymore. It's focused on delivering all of those advanced services to your constituents and your customers, and giving you the flexibility with our new portable VCF license to consume this anywhere. So sure, if you're continuing to build infrastructure in your data center or in your colo, bring your VCF license in its status quo. But if you choose to bring that VMware environment and have it be cloud adjacent in your hyperscaler of choice, AWS, Azure, or Google, you can use that VCF license on their VMware native solution and have those workloads adjacent inside of your public cloud provider of choice. Or for those of you who have sovereign cloud needs or are working with a cloud service provider, again, you have the ability to bring that VCF license to your managed service provider of choice and have them host your VMware infrastructure, and you can sit somewhere in that shared responsibility matrix that makes sense for your team. It's all about choice. And ultimately, what that's going to give you is true workload portability between all of those different VCF hosted environments with a consistent operating model and a consistent security posture. And security, we know, is paramount. We know that security is top of mind for all of our customers. And VMware Cloud Foundation sits right at the heart of delivering a secure, modern private cloud. And at VMware, we complement that with advanced networking services like our vDefend portfolio, with advanced threat protection capabilities and distributed firewall and load balancing capabilities. And then, of course, as a last line of defense, we have our VMware Live Recovery solution with ransomware and cyber protection. All of this is part of delivering a secure, resilient, modern cloud. So let's take a quick look at a next poll. Anders, or Simon, if one of you guys can pop that up for us, please. I want to understand where our customers are consuming VMware solutions today.
There we go.
Awesome. So go ahead, take a second and check off all of the solutions that you're consuming from VMware today, please. As part of the VCF stack, you can see all of these operational and virtualization technologies. And while we do that, I'm going to quickly move on and talk about VMware Cloud Foundation innovation, because over the last 12 months, post-acquisition and reorganization, people have been watching really closely to understand, hey, is the R&D engine at VMware still alive and well? And I'm happy to say, oh yes, it's very alive, and we are innovating at a pace that we've never seen before inside of VMware. And the proof is right here on the screen for you with what we've done in the last 12 months inside of VMware. We released VMware Cloud Foundation 5.2 back in July. Now, this was based on vSphere 8 Update 3 and all of the associated solutions inside of the VCF platform. But I want to highlight a few of the solutions that we've brought to market that are absolute game changers for our customers. So, the number one barrier to VCF adoption that we saw with our customers was the ability to go and take the existing VMware infrastructure you have today and bring it to VCF. That was the number one barrier. So with our July release, we introduced VCF Brownfield. For our customers who have vSphere or vSphere and vSAN environments, you now have the ability to brownfield ingest your VMware solutions into a VCF platform. And you can see the results for our poll here, right?
Looking good here.
96% of you using vSphere. That makes sense. That's why you're on the webinar. What I love seeing is that 69% of you are using vSAN today. So again, for the vast majority of you on the phone today or on the webinar today, you can use the VCF import to get to VCF today. Brownfield ingest your infrastructure. Now, I've noticed that 45% of you are using NSX as well. That's awesome. We're going to be introducing NSX support for Brownfield in VCF 9. We're going to cover that in a little bit. Love seeing that 10% of you are using TKG and containers today. As a former Tanzu guy myself, that makes me smile. And then, of course, yeah, about half of you are using our operations platform. That makes sense as well. Awesome. Great. So we're going to cover a lot of the innovation that all of those platforms have seen this year. And then we're going to take a look at VCF 9 and what's coming to you in 2025. But other meaningful things that we've released this year that I'll focus on a little bit more detail. ESXi live patching, hands down my favorite feature that we released this year, the ability for you to patch. In a lot of cases, these are those VMSAs for critical CVEs that are 0 days. Your security team's breathing down your neck. You got to get this stuff patched immediately. Good news is you no longer have to maintenance mode and evacuate your ESXi host to apply those thanks to live patching. I honestly think of this as a former VMware admin, as a quality of life thing. means I don't have to spend my weekends and nights patching anymore. On the storage side, we've taken vSAN to the next level with our express storage architecture. We completely re-architected vSAN to take advantage of modern NVMe technology. No more flash tier required. And what this means is we can now do petabyte scale vSAN clusters, and we can do that in a disaggregated model. I'll explain what that means in a little bit. And then finally, on the networking side, we've really helped our customers ease this transition from VLAN-backed distributed virtual port groups to NSX by automating that migration. So again, really meaningful technology advances that we've brought to the platform in 2024. But turning the page and looking forward, right? It's December, it's a good time of year to do that. I want to give you a little bit of a lens into what you can expect with VCF 9 in the next year. So this will be our first major release post-acquisition, and it is a complete game changer. For our customers who have seen this already, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. And it's really what we're focused on in the next year is helping our customers understand not only what they can do with VCF, but how they can get there from the VMware environment they have today. And so huge game-changing technologies. I mentioned we're taking the brownfield ingest and expanding that to support NSX environments as well as complex networking topologies. We're adding advanced memory tiering with NVMe. Now, this goes well beyond any of the memory oversubscription technologies that you know and love today, like Balloon and all of the technologies that allow you to over-provision RAM on your vSphere hosts. This is about using inexpensive NVMe technology to complement the most expensive component in your server today, and that is DRAM, right? So think about what that means for you, because most of the customers I work with, and when I ran a data center, this was always the case, I don't run out of compute, I run out of memory first. And so most of my clusters and most of my customers' clusters are memory bound. Think about what you could do with 50%, 100%, 400% more memory in every single host using inexpensive NVMe technology. Complete game changer, unique to our technology. On the vSAN side, we're bringing global dedupe to vSAN. So for those massive multi-hundred terabyte, even petabyte scale vSAN clusters, we're going to give you even more value by bringing integrated dedupe to that solution and allowing you to continue to drive down the cost to serve storage. And on the networking side, of course, more game-changing announcements there. We've taken the concept of VPCs. For those of you who have worked with AWS or Azure, you're familiar with VPCs and VNets. We've brought that concept to vSphere with the July release of the platform, but we're really taking it to the next level and fully integrating it into vCenter, into the automation tooling, and most importantly, into our native multi-tenancy. So again, massive game changers coming with VCF 9. So let's dive in a little bit more, because what I want to focus on is where our customers are going to get the most value out of the VCF platform and what are the specific challenges it's addressing for them. So I'm going to focus on kind of our cloud admin persona first. And where this all starts is, of course, how am I going to build this private cloud? How am I going to address some of the biggest challenges, right? Brownfield, I've got existing vSphere environments. How am I going to migrate or ingest what I've got today? And how am I going to deploy software-defined networking quickly and efficiently? So we talked about it initially. I'm going to dive in a little more into this idea of VCF Import. So in the current version of the product, VCF 5.2, based on vSphere 8 Update 3, we've introduced the ability to brownfield ingest vSphere and vSphere with vSAN environments. This is a command line operation. And what it allows you to do is take an existing vCenter and the associated cluster and convert it into a VCF management domain. And from there, what you can do is you can ingest additional workload domains, so additional vSphere clusters, into that VCF environment and start gaining the benefit of fleet level lifecycle management, more simplicity and automation for all the things you do as an admin on a daily basis. And this has been a game changer for a lot of our customers who never thought they could get to VCF because they didn't have a hardware lifecycle coming up. They didn't have vSAN in their environment. None of those things are required if you're going to do brownfield ingest. You can use the existing technology you have on the floor today. So huge game changer. Second piece is around vSAN itself. So I mentioned our express storage architecture, our brand new architecture for vSAN, which came out with vSphere 8. We've taken this to the next level with disaggregated storage. So this is the ability for you to scale your data center in a way that better aligns to the way you architect for workloads. What do I mean? I mean, originally vSAN was a hyperconverged technology. And for 99% of our vSAN customers, that was perfectly fine. They had storage, they had compute, they had memory, and it all sat in the confines of a friendly VMware cluster, and they scaled that in a very linear way. But for some of our customers, that didn't align to the way they architect data centers. They needed non-linear scaling of compute, memory, and storage. And that's what disaggregated storage gives you the ability to do. Build a dedicated storage cluster using vSAN, and then provision that storage to your compute clusters wherever they sit in your environment. Huge game changer. Now, for those larger customers who take more of a region and availability zone type architecture approach, we also introduced stretch clustering support for the express storage architecture this year. This is the ability to have multi-AZ resilience, so site level resilience with native vSAN technologies. We also simplified the adoption of software-defined networking. And this is a game changer when I talk to customers who have never gone down the NSX path or who tried NSX 5 or 6 years ago and struggled to get it off the ground. The ability to have our technology help automate the process of moving from VLAN back distributed virtual port groups to NSX is, again, a huge game changer for our customers and really reducing the burden of entry to software-defined networking. So how do we take this to the next level? Well, that's where VCF 9 comes in. So rather than talk about it, I'd rather show it to you. So let's jump over here into our VMware Cloud Foundation installer. And what you can see here is this is VCF 9. And right out of the gate, we're going to jump into our VCF guided workflow. Now, like I talked about, we have the ability to do brownfield today through the command line, but of course that gets integrated into the GUI in version 9, and we can connect to an existing vCenter and create a new VCF instance. And we now support NSX as well, completing that trifecta of vSphere, vSAN, and NSX brownfield ingest support. What's meaningful about the next step is many of our customers, I saw in the poll, 53% of you already run operations today, either VROPS or ARIA ops. I'm happy to say that we also support using an existing instance of our operations tooling, so you don't have to redeploy this from scratch. Not as many of you, though, I think it was only 30-something%, are using our automation technology. And so since automation is core to everything that we're doing in VCF, you now have the ability to quickly and easily stand up a highly available version of VCF automation as part of the initial build operation. And of course, we go through all the pre-checks and validations for the hardware and software of your existing environment to make sure that it will fully support VCF in its current configuration before we actually go through this deployment. For those of you who do infrastructure as code or want to source code or want to source control this installation, you can of course download this JSON file, and now you can do repeatable VCF rollouts or just source control this configuration, and away we go. So again, really simple, helping meet you where you're at with VCF 9 and taking that brownfield experience to the next level. So Now let's talk about the operations piece, because this is where most of us live as VMware admins on a daily basis. With the July release, we've made huge strides towards streamlining the toil of daily operations of being a VMware Cloud admin. And really what this focuses on is three core tenets. The first is the efficiency of lifecycling, right? We understand that patching and maintaining typically heterogeneous VMware environments can be toilsome. We needed to help our administrators reduce that burden. We also needed to help reduce the mean time to resolution when there's a problem. So this gives you the ability to do faster root cause analysis by bringing together more information into fewer screens and having fewer contexts to switch through as you're troubleshooting these problems. And then, of course, centralizing typically disparate tasks like license management and certificate management, the stuff that's no fun, but of course, if a cert expires, it's going to bite you in a meaningful way. And then we'll look at VCF 9, where we've integrated multi-tenancy as well. So right out of the box, VCF is going to help you automate away a lot of the complexity of your daily operations. We looked at some of the build operations, right? Building out a VCF environment, right? Converting or importing existing technology, but it goes beyond that into day one and day two operations. What I think of as the CRUD operations: create, resize, upgrade, and delete vSphere clusters, and automating all of that in a consistent, repeatable way per VMware best practices. But it doesn't stop there, because we're doing this with lifecycling as well, and giving you the ability to automate the lifecycling process in a very meaningful way, while maintaining the granular control you need. Because I have a lot of customers who tell me, hey, this cluster has to stay on version 7 because of whatever dependency they have. I can push the rest of my environment to 8, no problem, but that one needs to stay on 7, no problem, right? You can do granular upgrades at a cluster level, or you can scale that out where you've got homogeneous environments, and you need to, in parallel, upgrade all of those in a consistent way. Again, all with this technology. So let's dive in and look at some of the security pieces that we've automated for you today with the platform. And the first one is password rotation, right? This is a mundane and tedious thing, but we built in the automation, and it can API integrate with the password vault of your choice, so that now you can have consistent policies for managing passwords across your entire VCF environment, right? You can even schedule the rotation of those passwords and integrate it into your password manager. So again, taking a very tedious task that's very important from a security context and making it easier and less burdensome for our VMware admins. We also take this to the next level with license management and giving you some visibility into your certificates. So license management has historically been at the vCenter level. Now we bring this together at the VCF level, so you can understand your license consumption and utilization. Plus, with the unified license key for VCF in version 8, we've made this even easier, so you're not putting in disparate license files for all the different piece parts of the platform. You've got a single license file, and you can track consumption much more easily. We're giving you visibility into your certificate infrastructure. Now, this is something we'll talk about in version 9, how we take that a step further, but today it's really about visibility and alerting in the platform, so you don't miss a cert renewal and ultimately have problems at the cluster level because you have a host or a whole cluster where the cert's expired. We've gone and taken a lot of our disparate tools from Skyline and Operations Log Insight and the operations tool and brought these together to simplify remediation of common problems. Skyline Health Advisor was a huge success. And so part of having a private cloud is making sure that none of your data, even telemetry data, has to egress your private infrastructure back to VMware. We heard you loud and clear. And what we've done is we've taken Skyline Health Advisor as well as the diagnostics and brought those into the VCF platform. So now you get all the benefit of Skyline running in your private cloud on your workloads without egressing any data. And of course, this is going to help you with rapid root cause analysis and remediation. Lifecycle management is, of course, one of the most tedious and time-consuming parts of running any IT infrastructure. And so we've really sought to help drive down the time required in order to manage and remediate, and of course, lifecycle all of your VMware environments. And this starts with centralizing that lifecycle management for the entire stack. So no more going to multiple tools to manage vSphere and vSAN and NSX and then ARIA, right? Now you can bring it all together, and with our consistent release cadence, where we're releasing the entire VCF stack as a unified bundle, you never have to look and try to figure out hardware compatibility and software compatibility matrices. It's all built into one tool for you. Again, continuing to give you granular patch control where you need it for clusters that aren't ready to go to the next version or make the jump to the next level. And then, of course, everyone's favorite feature, live patching for ESXi. I told you there'd be more on this, right? This is the non-disruptive patching. This is, again, something myself and a lot of our admins have been clamoring for years and years. And I'm happy to say that we brought it to the product this year. Now, long-term, our ability is to have more than just those critical CVEs addressed through live patching. We want to address a lot of the upgrades, even version-to-version upgrades within a release. So again, a lot more coming down the pike in terms of what live patching is going to be enabled. What this means for you, though, is when there's that day zero vulnerability and a critical CVE comes out, you're going to be able to patch your systems in less time, right? Minutes per host instead of hours when you talk about evacuations. So let's take a look at VCF 9 again and get a better idea of what this looks like in the new world and what you can expect. So we'll go back to our deployment here and we'll jump into the VCF operations console. And right away, what you can see is this is your centralized fleet management tool for everything that you're going to do in VCF. We've brought together a lot of disparate tools and information from multiple sources that was typically in a different context, whether it was logs or NetFlow data or telemetry or health, and brought it into this centralized location. So right away, when we dive in, you can see I'm very happy to announce that we support SSO across the entire VCF platform in version 9 using modern identity providers. And this goes beyond the cloud admin role, right? You also need to provide identity for your tenants. And if you're a cloud service provider, those tenants are probably other businesses. So we support that natively in VCF 9. We've taken certificate centralized reporting and brought it to the next level with centralized remediation and the ability to automate that certificate rotation for the entire VCF platform. So more than just monitoring and alerting, it now does remediation non-disruptively, which is a game changer for a lot of our VI admins. Turning to the infrastructure configuration, one of the things that you've consistently asked us for is the ability to do drift remediation for your configurations of your VMware environment. I'm pleased to announce that in VCF 9, we have that built right into the platform. So you can visually understand at a glance where your configuration drift is at the cluster and host level, and then choose to automate the remediation of that in real time. Likewise, we take life cycling to the next level as well with live patch, as well as the ability to do granular remediation of the entire stack. So all of the underlying IaaS, management, operations, and security tools, the ability to centrally manage this from a single place in VCF 9. And then turning to the inventory piece, right? As a cloud admin, often what I'm tasked with is provisioning IaaS. So how do we make that even simpler? Well, one of the things we've integrated is the ability to do self-service IaaS and give my constituents the ability to consume VMs, containers, and some of the advanced services. And so I can provision this right out of my tooling in VCF operations. I can configure my self-service IaaS environment, review that configuration, and away I go. And now when I look in my VCF automation tool, what I can see right out of the gate is I now have a unified view of my entire environment, as well as I have multi-tenancy built in. So we've taken VMware Cloud Director and ARIA Automation and brought them together in VCF 9 to give you a true multi-tenant capability. When you marry that to VPCs for your software-defined networking, now that multi-tenancy extends all the way through the networking stack. So gives you a true private cloud experience right out of the box with VCF 9. But what about our security admins and our IT leadership? Well, don't worry, we've got some cool stuff for you as well. Start with our financial ops. So the FinOps tooling built into VCF operations is second to none. And this is the ability for you to understand who's overrunning budgets. So let's look at the marketing department here and their lifestyle application. You can see that there's a huge savings opportunity for storage cost optimization on this application. The number one reason why our customers struggle in the public cloud with cost is because of the cost of storage. The cost of storage in the public cloud alone is what's driving most people back to choosing a private cloud architecture. And you can see right here when we get into the granular level of detail and where I can get that savings on my application. I've got some powered off VMs. I've got a lot of snapshots sitting out there. And of course, I've got some oversized VMs as well. So I can drill down in here as a leader and I can understand my cost very granularly and where the opportunity for cost optimization is for my applications. Now, let's look at the performance side of this, right? And so it looks like my wellness application is seeing performance issues. And right out of the gate, if I look into the troubleshooting, what I understand is that I'm not meeting my SLO. And so we can integrate this with NetFlow data and very granularly dive down to the point in time where we saw performance issues and see that the problem was with our edge nodes here, right? It was overrunning its CPU. And so maybe to remediate this, we're going to want to scale out, or maybe we have a problem with that host. We can take corrective action right here, right out of our operations tool. And for our InfoSec and security folks, we've got a dashboard built into VCF just for you as well. The ability to monitor the most common things you're going to want to keep an eye on from a policy and governance perspective. So let's start with CVEs. You can see where the CVE violations are in the environment. And of course, we're going to start with our critical CVEs first, because those are the ones that we're really going to get dinged on in an audit. And you can see all of the hosts where this CVE is applicable. In addition, you can see what the corrective actions are based on our recommendations. So again, in VCF 9, what you've seen is we've got simplified private cloud onboarding experience. We've got VCF fleet management at scale, and we've got native multi-tenancy for VCF as well. Diving into that a little bit, right in the operations panel, you saw that we brought together what were previously 12 different tools. Yeah, I'm seeing all the hearts and celebrations. I feel the same way for all of you out there, right? No more context switching. You can do everything right out of operations, regardless of your role. And with role-based access controls natively integrated into VCF operations, you now have the ability to give your SRE teams and your platform ops teams the ability to manage their infrastructure as well as their advanced services as well. Looking at integrated multi-tenancy, this is where we take this to the next level in terms of operational efficiency and the ability to really granularly provision resources based on who's using the platform. So let's take a final look here. I see we're at quarter of. I want to leave time for some Q&A at the end. So let's take a look at the worldview from our cloud consumers, right? These are the individuals who are going to be consuming resources that our cloud admins have been provisioning. And so right out of the gate, as a consumer, I don't necessarily work out of a GUI. I probably work in a more modern way, whether I interact with APIs or I've got my kubectl command, right? Or I'm using infrastructure as code. Chances are I'm going to have a different way of interacting with infrastructure and services than my cloud admin teams. And so I need to be able to discover those in a consistent, frictionless, self-service way. And so this is something that we've brought to the platform with the 2024 release already. So you can see right out of the gate, that single platform for workload simplicity is really designed to break down those silos inside of our org. And we've oriented around this concept of a namespace. For those of you who are familiar with Kubernetes, you're familiar with the namespace concept. And what we've done is we've extended this concept beyond just Kubernetes and really focused on the idea of provisioning IaaS via namespaces. And it doesn't matter if it's a virtual machine or a Kubernetes pod or a cluster, right? Using this consistent namespace concept in order to aggregate those IaaS resources. And of course, as you would expect, we're really taking this to the next level in terms of what you're able to do in VCF 9. So let's pop back to our last demo here and take a look at what that looks like. So right out of the gate, I'm going to interact with the GUI here because, of course, the demo is a little better with the GUI. One of the things you can see is that the core services I have, of course, are virtual machines and Kubernetes. But more than that, I've got the ability to consume storage or data services or load balancers or VPCs or DNS services, etc. Right? All of the services, these are what we would consider to be cloud native services that our developers and our platform operation teams are going to consume as part of their role, right out of the same dashboard. So let's jump into our virtual machine service. Now, remember on my previous demo, how I provisioned that infrastructure as a service for our self-service users. Well, you can see what that looks like here on the consumer side. I've got the ability to grab a VM image, and you can see that my YAML manifest over here is automatically being updated based on the sizing that I choose as well. And when I go, I can, before I do my provisioning, right now I've got a way to provision this from a command line or the API if I so choose using my kubectl command. So we'll go ahead and execute that from there. And there you go. You can see we've gone ahead and provisioned that new workload. We also have a rich catalog of fully baked, customized applications that you can create and provision back to your end users as well. So, for example, if you've got applications that are homegrown or even off-the-shelf applications that you need to provision to your developer teams as part of their dev environments, or even some of those who are allowed to provision these to production, right? You can build that in with the correct level of guidance in terms of where they're provisioning or allowed to provision these resources, while still giving them the flexibility that they need in terms of choosing the profile for that virtual machine. So in this case, you can see I'm going to add GPUs to this because I'm going to be using some Spring AI technology, and I want to understand how I can scale that out and what that Spring AI workload is going to look like. And again, you can see from a financial ops and accounting perspective what that looks like right in the tool. So I understand at a very granular level what it's going to cost me to run this workload in my environment. So I'll go ahead and fire off that request. And you can see, just like in a public cloud, it's been provisioned. I have context awareness because DNS is just another service. That's part of my workflow. And I can go ahead and launch my fitness app, and away we go, right? So my cloud architects, my application architects, the last piece here is for you, right? The ability to map out and visually understand some of these very complex applications built with microservices and data services and load balancers at scale is absolutely paramount. And so that workflow and that application profile is also built right into the automation tooling today. So you have the ability to understand how these applications are codependent and interacting. And again, taking this into the operations tool, the ability to do root cause analysis in a very simple and meaningful way. So let's wrap this up and get to some Q&A. So the key demo takeaways, right? You've got those rich infrastructure services beyond just IaaS provisioning. We have the curated cloud marketplace where you can customize what your end users see based on their role or based on their business unit. Again, this integrates very tightly into our multi-tenancy. And of course, there are native consumption experiences for our developers who are going to use cloud native methodologies for interacting with infrastructure and service provisioning. So technologies that you can look forward to in VCF 9, right? Memory tiering, native VPCs as part of a multi-tenant architecture, vSAN dedupe, and of course, doing more with live patching in VCF 9 platform. These are some of the major innovations we're bringing out in 2025, but the good news is you don't have to wait. You can use brownfield. Again, we saw on the poll, the vast majority of you have very straightforward vSphere and vSAN environments. You can start your adoption of VCF today with version 5.2 based on vSphere 8 update 3. And you can get to VCF and start realizing a lot of these benefits right out of the gate and prepare you to make the leap to VCF 9 when you're ready in 2025 or beyond. And we're all about meeting you where you're at with this technology. And so for us, that means working with you and doing a private cloud maturity assessment and understanding where those non-technology issues may lie and changes in your workflows, or where you need to reskill individuals in order to help them become cloud admins and help break down those data center silos. We will run VCF Jumpstart workshops. So work directly with your VMware team in order to run these workshops to help upskill you and your team on VCF and the underpinning technologies. And as part of VCF, what we've given everyone is full access to our entire VMware Learning Catalog at no additional charge for all of your team members. So now you have unlimited access to the entire VMware Online Learning Catalog. This includes those 100 to 400 level instructor-led courses, so you no longer have to pay additional money to go send your people off for training or go to training yourself. If you want to learn about these technologies, just jump on the portal and start learning right away. We've also partnered with VMUG for our VMUG Advantage customers, or our VMUG Advantage members, right? VMUG, an independent entity, is partnered with VMware. And what we've done is, in addition to a 50% discount on your VCF certification exam, once you pass that exam, you're entitled to a free VCF license for your home lab or your lab environment in order to learn and upskill yourself and really take advantage of VCF technology. So I want to leave you with that, right? We're absolutely committed to this community and making sure that our VMware admins and practitioners can develop their skills. They have the ability to use their home labs. And more importantly, they're able to adopt VCF at home so that they have the confidence to go ahead and use it in a work environment as well. So Simon, I see we've been busy on the chat here. Anders, I see we've been busy on the chat here. Any questions that have come up consistently that we want to take live?
Let's see, we got a couple here that just came in. We got one, how do we handle licenses for embedded versions such as vSAN Witness? Can they still be used or they need to be renewed through Broadcom offerings?
Yep.
And
So,
then,
which VCF bro?
and
Yeah,
then it
so
was,
that's a good one. So with VCF, so with VMware Cloud Foundation, we've got a couple of editions of that product specifically tailored. So the general VCF product, of course, is tailored for the data center and focused on data center workloads. But we do have VCF Edge for those smaller robo style or edge deployment scenarios. Typically we see those in telco and retail and oil and gas and manufacturing. So we do have a VCF Edge version specifically designed. It sounds like that might be the scenario that you're talking about, as well as a VCF for VDI edition. So we've tailored the offering based on how you're planning to deploy the infrastructure. So I hope that addresses that one. Any other questions that have come in that we want to tackle live here?
How about elaborating on that training and certification that was just mentioned?
The training and certification. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, as someone who, went through the VCP program for data center virtualization and, started doing my VCPs, I think back in version 4 or 5, it was so long ago, it's hard to remember. One of the issues I had with that training and certification program is that I had to take, 3 days, 5 days off work in order to go and do that install, config, manage course, right? Or some of the advanced courses. I'm happy to say we've changed that. So you're no longer required to go and do the 3-day or the 5-day course. Most of you who are VMware admins use this technology every single day. You're very proficient with it already. You shouldn't have to go take the course. And if you want to go take the recorded course that one of our instructors led, it's available to you for free. So go ahead and do it on your time. Do it over your lunch breaks, do it after hours if you need that level of coursework, but it's not a requirement anymore. If you're proficient and you use our technology every day, study and go take the exam, no course required. And once you pass that exam, if you're a VMUG Advantage member, you can get that free 3-year license for VCF for your home lab. Yeah. And to get that VCF exam discount, yep, that's available to our VMUG Advantage members. So head on over to VMUG, sign up to be an Advantage member, and you can get that 50% VCF certification discount. Any other questions that have come in that we want to address in the last minute here?
I think we're looking good here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. It's been a real pleasure meeting a lot of you in the field as I've been on tour all over North America doing these road shows. I certainly look forward to seeing even more of you in 2025. So I think we're at the top of the hour. Oh, one more. Will this recording be available? Yes, this recording will be available so that you'll get an email follow up with the link to the recording, I believe, in the next 24 to 48 hours. So thank you all very much. Look forward to seeing many of you in 2025. Happy holidays, safe travels if you're going to be traveling out there. For Gordon Barr, myself, and the rest of the VCF division, thanks very much and have a great day.
Thanks, folks. We'll see you all next year.